Good evening. Tonight, there is nowhere you need to be, nothing to finish, and nothing to solve. The day is over now, so settle into a comfortable position and allow yourself to relax. As the rain falls softly outside, let your breathing find its own gentle rhythm. There is no need to focus on anything, no need to remember anything, and no need to do anything at all. Tonight, all you need to do is listen. Together, we'll leave the noise of the day behind and step into a quieter place. A place filled with old books, soft light, and endless stories. Beyond these shelves, the world feels distant. The clocks tick more slowly here. The rain softens every sound beyond the windows. And for a little while, nothing is expected of you. No decisions, no deadlines, no distractions. Just the quiet comfort of a story waiting to be opened. The library is waiting. The rain taps gently against the windows, and the lamps glow softly between the shelves. Everything is calm here. Everything is still. A place filled with old books, soft light, and endless stories. Beyond these shelves, the world feels distant. Now follow me through the sleeping aisles, past the shelves, and past the rows of forgotten stories, toward the reading table at the center of the library. Waiting beneath the glow of a single green lamp is tonight's book. Let's open it together. Tonight's book is Westward Along the Oregon Trail. As we turn the first page, the library grows quieter still. The rain continues softly beyond the windows, and the story begins. The journey begins in Independence, Missouri, on a quiet spring morning in the middle of the 19th century. Long before highways, airplanes, or railroads connected the American West, Independence stood at the edge of a vast and largely unknown frontier. For thousands of travelers, this town marked the beginning of something extraordinary. It was here that families, merchants, farmers, craftsmen, and dreamers gathered before setting out toward Oregon. The sun has not yet fully risen. A pale glow rests along the eastern horizon, and the streets remain cool from the night before. Yet the town is already awake. You can hear it long before you see it. The soft creaking of wagon wheels, the distant sounds of horses shifting in their stalls, the quiet voices of travelers making final preparations. Everywhere around you, people are getting ready for a journey that will take months rather than days. The roads they will follow are little more than tracks, stretching westward across the continent. Beyond those tracks lie rivers, grasslands, mountains, forests, and thousands of miles of open country. But this morning, nobody is thinking about all of that. Instead, their attention is focused on simpler things: food, water, tools, animals, supplies, the practical necessities of daily life.
he walks slowly along one of the town's dusty streets. The air carries the scent of fresh-cut wood, horses, and the smoke of breakfast fires beginning to appear outside small homes and boarding houses.
The town feels busy, but not rushed. Purposeful, rather than hurried. Many travelers have spent weeks preparing for this moment. Some have traveled hundreds of miles simply to reach independence. Now they stand at the threshold of an even longer journey. Rows of wagons line the streets. Most are larger than many people imagine today. Not luxury vehicles, but sturdy wooden wagons designed to carry everything a family might need. Barrels, cooking pots, blankets, tools, seeds, books, clothing. Carefully packed possessions that represent an entire way of life. Nearby, children watch with curiosity as adults continue loading supplies. For many of them, the trip feels like an adventure. They see horses, wagons, open roads, and endless possibilities. The adults often see something different. Responsibility, planning, uncertainty. Yet there is excitement as well. The Oregon Territory has captured the imagination of people across America. Stories describe fertile farmland, vast forests, rivers filled with fish, and opportunities unavailable in crowded eastern settlements. Some stories are accurate, others are exaggerated, but together they create a powerful vision of possibility. As the morning grows brighter, more travelers appear. Some arrive alone, others travel in large groups. Many understand that the safest way to cross the continent is together. A wagon train offers companionship, cooperation, and additional hands when challenges arise. So strangers begin introducing themselves. Conversations form naturally. Names are exchanged. Routes are discussed. Children make friends before the journey has even begun. There is a feeling that everyone is participating in something larger than themselves. The western horizon seems to pull gently at the imagination. You continue walking through town. Storefronts are opening. Merchants arrange goods outside their shops. Blacksmiths begin their daily work. The ringing of hammers occasionally echoes through the morning air. Every business seems connected to the great migration moving westward. Some sell tools, some repair wagons, others provide food, rope, or equipment for the long journey ahead. Independence thrives because of movement. People are always arriving. People are always leaving. And today is no different. A small group gathers beside a wagon loaded with flour barrels. Nearby, another family carefully checks harnesses attached to a team of oxen. The animals stand patiently, strong, steady, reliable. Unlike horses,
Oxen became the preferred choice for many Oregon Trail travelers. They moved more slowly, but they could work for long periods and survive difficult conditions. For a journey measured in months, reliability mattered more than speed. The morning sunlight now spreads across the town. Shadows shorten. Windows begin reflecting golden light. The day feels full of promise. Somewhere beyond the horizon lies a destination few people have ever seen. Yet, despite all the anticipation, this moment remains surprisingly ordinary. People eat breakfast. People talk. People work. Children laugh. Animals wait patiently. Life continues much as it always has. The great adventure begins not with a dramatic departure, but with a series of small, familiar moments. A conversation, a packed wagon, a final inspection, a quiet look toward the west. The Oregon Trail itself still lies ahead. Soon enough, there will be rivers to cross, prairies to travel, and mountains to reach. But not yet. For now, the travelers remain here in Independence, standing between the lives they know and the journey that awaits them. And as the town slowly awakens beneath the spring sun, the first chapter of the story quietly begins. By the following morning, the town of Independence is already beginning to disappear behind you. The journey has finally begun. For weeks, perhaps months, preparations filled every waking hour. Lists were made, supplies were gathered, wagons were loaded and inspected, routes were discussed. Now, for the first time, all of that planning is behind you. The wagon train is moving west. Slowly, steadily, one creaking wheel at a time. The road ahead stretches across open country. At first, the landscape feels familiar. Rolling hills, scattered trees, small farms, occasional streams crossing the countryside. Nothing about the scene suggests that one of the longest overland journeys in American history has begun. The pace surprises many travelers. Everything moves more slowly than expected. Oxen do not hurry. Wagons are heavy. Roads are uneven. A person walking beside the wagon can often move just as quickly as the wagon itself. And so much of the day is spent walking. Modern travelers often imagine long hours riding comfortably inside the wagon. In reality, many people preferred to walk. The wagon carried supplies. The travelers walked beside it. Hour after hour, mile after mile. Fortunately, the scenery changes constantly.
The farther west you travel, the larger the landscape begins to feel. Fields stretch farther toward the horizon. The sky seems wider. The roads become less crowded. The towns become less frequent. Each mile creates a growing sense of distance from the world left behind. Yet life within the wagon train quickly settles into a routine. Morning begins early, often before sunrise. Breakfast is prepared over small campfires. Animals are checked. Harnesses are inspected. Then the wagons begin moving once again.
The routine rarely changes, and perhaps that predictability is comforting. Every traveler knows exactly what the day will bring. Walking, traveling, stopping, resting, then repeating the process tomorrow. The rhythm itself becomes part of the experience. Around midday, the wagon train pauses. Not for long, just enough time for people and animals to rest. You find a comfortable spot beneath the shade of a tree. Nearby, children explore the grass, while adults prepare simple meals. Conversations drift through the warm air. People discuss weather, road conditions, rumors about the trail ahead, stories heard from earlier travelers. Some of those stories describe fertile valleys in Oregon. Others describe mountain passes and endless grasslands. No one knows exactly what awaits them. That uncertainty remains part of the attraction. After all, if every detail were already known, it would not feel like a frontier. As the afternoon continues, the road carries the wagon train farther into the American interior. The sounds of the journey become familiar. Wooden wheels turning against dirt, leather harnesses gently creaking, the soft footsteps of oxen moving in unison, occasional laughter drifting between neighboring wagons. None of it feels hurried. None of it feels stressful. The entire journey seems to operate according to a slower clock. A clock measured not in minutes, but in miles. Not in schedules, but in seasons. Many travelers discover something unexpected during these first days: the simplicity of life on the trail. There are fewer decisions, fewer distractions, fewer interruptions. The day revolves around a small number of practical tasks: travel, food, rest, preparation for tomorrow. Nothing more. And in some ways, that simplicity creates a surprising sense of peace. As the afternoon sun slowly begins its descent, long shadows stretch across the landscape. The wagon train continues westward, patiently, steadily. The destination remains far away. The Rocky Mountains still lie hundreds of miles ahead. The great forests of Oregon remain little more than a distant dream. But those challenges belong to another day. For now, the journey feels gentle. The road is clear. The weather is pleasant. And the open prairie seems to welcome every traveler moving toward the setting sun. As evening approaches, the tension gradually shifts toward finding a place to stop for the night. The wagons will soon form a temporary camp. Fires will be lit. Meals will be prepared. Stories will be shared beneath the stars. But before any of that happens, there remains one final hour of travel. One final stretch of road. The sun hangs low over the western horizon. Golden light spreads across the grasslands. The wheels continue turning. The oxen continue walking. And the wagon train continues its slow, peaceful journey toward the distant Oregon territory. As the sun finally slips below the western horizon, the wagon train begins preparing for the night. After a full day of travel, nobody needs to be told what comes next. The routine is already becoming familiar. The wagons gradually leave the road and gather in a wide open space beside a small stream. The animals are unharnessed. Water buckets appear. Campfires begin taking shape. And for the first time all day, the journey comes to a complete stop. The sudden quiet feels noticeable. For hours, the sound of wheels, footsteps, and moving animals filled the air. Now those sounds slowly fade away. In their place come softer sounds. Crackling firewood, flowing water, distant conversations, the gentle evening breeze moving through the prairie grass. The open landscape seems even larger at night. During the day, your attention naturally focuses on the road ahead. At camp, however, there is nowhere to go. No destination to reach before sunset. No miles left to travel. The vastness of the prairie finally has a chance to reveal itself. You look toward the horizon. The land stretches endlessly in every direction. Rolling grasslands continue far beyond what the eye can see. The nearest town is now many miles behind you. Ahead lies an ocean of open country. The feeling is both humbling and peaceful. As darkness slowly settles across the prairie, small points of light begin appearing throughout the camp. Campfires, dozens of them, each one surrounded by families preparing simple evening meals. A pot simmers gently above one fire. Another family bakes bread beside glowing coals. Nearby, someone quietly repairs a wagon wheel, damaged during the day's travel. Life continues much as it always has. Only the setting has changed. The smell of wood smoke drifts across the evening air. It mixes with the scent of grass, earth, and fresh water from the nearby stream. For many travelers, these evenings become some of the most memorable moments of the journey. Not because anything extraordinary happens, but because nothing extraordinary needs to happen. There is comfort in simple routines. comfort in familiar faces gathered around a warm fire. Comfort in watching the sky slowly change from gold to blue and finally to black. As darkness deepens, the stars begin appearing overhead. At first, there are only a few, then dozens, then hundreds. Soon the entire sky seems filled with light.
Without cities, highways, or electric lamps, the night sky appears far brighter than most people experience today. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a pale river of stars. Many travelers pause what they are doing, simply to look upward. The sight never grows old. You settle near one of the campfires. The warmth feels welcome as evening temperatures begin to fall. Nearby, quiet conversations continue. Stories are exchanged. Some travelers speak about the homes they left behind. Others discuss the lands they hope to reach. Children listen carefully. Older travelers occasionally offer advice gathered from previous journeys. The atmosphere feels relaxed, friendly, unhurried. No one seems eager to rush into sleep. After all, the evening is often the most peaceful part of the day. The work is finished. Tomorrow's travel can wait until morning. For now, there is only the fire and the stars. A fiddle begins playing somewhere across the camp. The melody drifts gently through the darkness. Not a performance, not a concert, just someone passing the evening with music. The sound rises and falls with the breeze, then gradually disappears once more. The prairie seems to absorb every noise. Nothing echoes here. Everything feels softer, more distant, more calm. As the night grows later, one campfire after another begins to fade. Conversations become quieter. Children fall asleep beneath blankets inside the wagons. Adults prepare for another early start. The stars continue shining above. The stream continues flowing beside the camp. The grass continues swaying beneath the night breeze. Everything feels steady. Everything feels peaceful. The Oregon Trail often appears in history books as a story of movement, a story of miles traveled and destinations reached. But evenings like this remind us that much of the journey was spent simply living, eating, talking, resting, watching the stars, and appreciating a quiet moment at the end of a long day. Eventually, even the final campfires begin settling into glowing embers. The prairie grows silent. The wagon train sleeps. And beneath one of the largest night skies in America,
The long journey westward quietly continues into tomorrow.
Several days have now passed since leaving Independence. The routines of the trail no longer feel unfamiliar. Morning follows morning. Camp follows camp. The wagon train continues its patient journey westward. And little by little, the landscape begins to change. The farms become less frequent. The fences disappear. The small settlements grow farther apart. Soon, there is only the prairie. A vast sea of grass, stretching toward every horizon. For many travelers, this is their first encounter with the Great Plains. Nothing quite prepares them for the scale. Back east, forests often limit how far a person can see. Hills interrupt the view. Roads twist and turn through towns and valleys. Here, the world feels entirely different. The land opens in every direction. The sky seems impossibly large, and the horizon appears so distant that it almost feels unreachable. As the wagon train moves forward, the prairie rolls gently beneath the wheels. The grass changes with the wind. At times it appears green. At other moments it glows gold beneath the afternoon sun. From a distance, the movement resembles waves upon an ocean. Not an ocean of water, an ocean of grass. The comparison appears frequently in journals written by travelers. Many struggled to describe what they were seeing. The prairie felt endless, almost unreal. The farther west they traveled, the larger it seemed to become. You walk beside the wagon, as countless travelers once did. The road beneath your feet is dusty but firm. The weather is pleasant. A few white clouds drift lazily across the sky. There is no urgency, no race. The wagon train moves at the pace of the oxen, and the oxen move at the pace they always have. Slowly, steadily, patiently. Around midday, the prairie becomes remarkably quiet. There are moments when the only sounds are the wheels turning and the wind moving through the grass. Even conversations seem softer here. The open landscape encourages reflection. Many travelers spend hours simply observing, watching clouds, watching distant birds, watching the changing light across the prairie. The simplicity of the scenery creates an unexpected calm. Nothing demands attention. Nothing interrupts the rhythm of the day. The world becomes wonderfully uncomplicated. Grass, sky, road, wagon. The same elements repeat again and again, yet somehow they never become boring. The prairie possesses a quiet beauty that reveals itself gradually. You begin noticing details that might otherwise go unnoticed. Wildflowers scattered among the grass, butterflies drifting across the trail,
small streams reflecting the afternoon sun, the distant silhouette of a lone tree standing against the horizon. Simple things, yet memorable. As the afternoon progresses, a herd of bison appears far away. At first, they seem like tiny dark shapes, almost impossible to identify. But as the wagon train continues forward, their size becomes clearer.
The animals move slowly across the grasslands, calm, powerful, ancient. For countless generations, bison have traveled these plains. Long before wagon trains arrived, long before roads crossed the continent, long before maps gave names to these landscapes. The travelers watch quietly. The sight feels special, not dramatic, not frightening, simply remarkable. Soon, the herd disappears once more into the distance. The prairie swallows it whole.
That is one of the strange qualities of this landscape. Things appear, then disappear. The horizon always remains just beyond reach. Hours pass almost without notice. The sun climbs, then slowly begins its descent. Shadows lengthen across the grass. The light softens. The air cools slightly. Another day of travel is approaching its end. Yet the wagon train feels different now than it did a few days ago. The unfamiliar has become familiar. The strange has become ordinary.
People know their responsibilities. The animals know the routine. Even the road seems familiar. A sense of confidence begins to emerge. The journey remains long. The mountains still lie far ahead. Oregon remains distant. But for now, there is comfort in the rhythm of daily progress. 1 mile follows another. 1 day follows another. 1 sunset follows another. And beneath the enormous skies of the American prairie, the wagon train continues westward, through a landscape that seems to have no end at all.
After many days upon the prairie, the wagon train eventually encounters one of the most important features of the Western journey, the rivers. For travelers heading toward Oregon, rivers were both companions and obstacles. They provided fresh water, they offered places to rest, they helped guide the route westward. Yet they also demanded patience and careful planning. This morning, the wagon train approaches a broad river beneath a sky of pale blue. The water moves steadily through the landscape, not fast, not slow, simply following its ancient course across the continent.
From a distance, the river appears peaceful, almost inviting. Sunlight sparkles across its surface. Cottonwood trees grow along the banks. Birds move quietly among the branches. The scene feels calm, almost effortless. Yet everyone understands that crossing requires attention. You walk toward the riverbank alongside the other travelers. The wagons stop. The animals rest.
People gather to observe the water. Some study the current. Others examine possible crossing points. The atmosphere remains relaxed. No one seems hurried.
Experience has already taught the wagon train an important lesson. The trail rewards patience. The river will still be here in an hour. It will still be here tomorrow. There is no reason to rush. As preparations begin, many travelers take advantage of the pause. Some refill water barrels. Others wash clothing beside the river. Children explore the shoreline, while adults sit beneath the shade of nearby trees. The cool air drifting from the water feels refreshing after long days upon the open prairie. The river itself becomes part of the day's rhythm. The gentle sound of moving water fills the air. Steady, predictable, comforting. Many travelers spend time simply sitting beside the bank and watching the current pass by. There is something calming about a river. Unlike the road, it never seems concerned about reaching a destination. It simply continues forward, one bend at a time, 1 mile at a time. The wagon train eventually begins crossing. The process takes time. Everything on the trail takes time. Wagons move carefully. Animals step slowly through the shallow sections. Voices remain calm. Nobody appears anxious. The travelers have already learned that steady progress matters far more than speed. Beyond the river, the landscape continues unfolding toward the west. Grasslands still dominate the horizon, but subtle changes are beginning to appear. The prairie no longer feels endless. Occasional hills rise in the distance. Trees become slightly more common. The land hints at future landscapes, waiting farther ahead. The Rocky Mountains remain far away, yet their presence feels closer than before. Each crossing, each mile, each day of travel brings Oregon a little nearer. As afternoon settles across the river valley, the wagon train resumes its familiar movement. Wheels turn, oxen walk. The road continues westward. The river slowly disappears behind the travelers. Its shining surface becomes smaller and smaller until it vanishes entirely beyond the horizon. Soon, another river will appear, then another. The great waterways of the American West have guided travelers for generations. Today is simply one more chapter in that long story. The evening sun begins lowering toward the horizon once again. Golden light spreads across the grasslands. Shadows lengthen. The air grows cooler. Ahead, the road stretches quietly toward distant hills. Behind,
the river continues its journey toward places unseen. And between them, the wagon train moves onward, patiently, steadily, one peaceful day at a time.
The evening sun begins lowering toward the horizon once again. Golden light spreads across the grasslands. Shadows lengthen. The air grows cooler. Ahead, the road stretches quietly toward distant hills. Behind, the river continues its journey toward places unseen. And between them, the wagon train moves onward, patiently, steadily, one peaceful day at a time. Weeks have now passed since the journey began. The wagon train has crossed rivers, followed winding trails across the prairie, and traveled beneath countless sunsets. The routine of the trail has become second nature. Each morning begins much the same way. Each evening ends beneath a different sky. And little by little, the landscape continues changing. The transformation is gradual, so gradual that many travelers barely notice it at first. Yet it is unmistakable. The endless grasslands that once stretched to every horizon begin giving way to something new. The land becomes greener. The air feels cooler. Trees appear more frequently along streams and hillsides. The western edge of the continent is drawing nearer. This morning, the wagon train follows a trail that winds gently through rolling country. The open prairie still exists behind you, but ahead, forests begin appearing along distant slopes. Dark green shapes resting against the horizon. For weeks, the sky dominated every view. Now, the land itself begins to command attention. The road narrows slightly. Shadows linger longer beneath the trees. The breeze carries new scents: pine, fir, fresh earth, the smell of forests after weeks spent upon the open plains. Many travelers find the change refreshing. The prairie possesses a beauty all its own. Yet there is something comforting about trees, something familiar, something welcoming. You walk beside the wagon and listen carefully. The sounds have changed as well. The prairie wind no longer moves endlessly through tall grass. Instead, leaves rustle softly overhead. Birdsong drifts between the branches. Occasionally, a distant woodpecker can be heard somewhere within the forest. The atmosphere feels calmer, more sheltered, more intimate. As the trail continues westward, the wagon train enters a landscape shaped by water
and mountains. Streams cross the route more frequently. Small creeks flow through shaded valleys. Sunlight filters through the trees in shifting patterns of gold and green. The world feels quieter here, almost protected. By midday, the travelers stop beside a clear stream running through a grove of towering pines.
The water is cold, crystal clear. The shade feels pleasant beneath the warm afternoon sun. Many people choose to rest beside the stream rather than gather near the wagons. The setting invites stillness. The forest seems to encourage slower thoughts, slower movements, even slower conversations. You sit beside the water for a while. The stream moves steadily across smooth stones. The sound is gentle, constant. The kind of sound that quickly becomes part of the background, not demanding attention, simply existing. Nearby, sunlight flickers across the surface of the water. Tiny reflections dance among the rocks. For a moment, it is easy to forget the miles that still lie ahead. Easy to focus only on the present. The cool shade, the moving water, the peaceful forest. As afternoon slowly gives way to evening, the wagon train resumes its journey. The road climbs gently. The trees become taller. The air grows cooler. Far above, the first outlines of distant mountains can sometimes be seen through breaks in the forest. Not towering peaks, just hints, small reminders that the landscape continues changing. The travelers no longer speak about Oregon as a distant dream. It has become something tangible, something closer, something waiting just beyond the next ridge. Yet no one seems eager to rush. The trail itself has become part of the destination. Every river, every campfire, every sunrise, every quiet evening beneath unfamiliar stars. The journey has taught patience, and patience remains a faithful companion. At last, after weeks of steady travel, the landscape begins to feel different. Not dramatically, not all at once, but in countless small ways. The forests grow thicker, the rivers seem more frequent, the air feels cooler and carries the scent of pine, earth, and distant rain. The wagon train continues forward at its familiar pace. The wheels still turn slowly. The oxen still walk patiently. Yet something has changed. For the first time since leaving Independence, Missouri, the destination no longer feels far away. It feels real,
Many travelers have spent months imagining Oregon. They have heard stories of fertile valleys, towering forests, and rivers filled with salmon. They have listened to descriptions passed from one traveler to another. Now, those distant stories are gradually becoming part of the world around them. The trail winds through green landscapes, unlike anything seen back on the open prairie. Tall trees stand along the hillsides. Streams flow quietly through shaded valleys. Morning mist sometimes lingers above the water before slowly disappearing beneath the rising sun. The scenery feels peaceful, almost timeless. As you walk beside the wagon, you notice how different the sounds have become.
The prairie winds are gone. In their place come the sounds of forests, birds calling from distant branches, water moving across smooth stones, leaves stirring gently in the breeze. The world feels quieter here, more sheltered, more still. One morning, as sunlight filters through the trees, the wagon train pauses along a hillside, overlooking a broad valley. The view stretches for miles. Forests cover the landscape. Rivers weave through the distance. The mountains rise quietly beyond the horizon. Many travelers stop to admire the scene, not because they are surprised, but because they have spent so long imagining this moment. The long journey westward has finally brought them here. For a while, nobody seems eager to move. The valley below appears calm beneath the morning light, a place of possibility, a place of new beginnings, a place that will soon become home. Yet, even here, the rhythm of the trail remains unchanged. Breakfast is prepared, animals are tended, wagons are checked. The ordinary routines of daily life continue. Perhaps that is the lesson of the Oregon Trail. History often remembers great journeys through dramatic moments, but most of the journey was made up of simple days, walking beside a wagon, watching the weather, crossing a stream, sharing a meal around a campfire, looking up at the stars before sleep. Thousands of small moments, slowly carrying people across a continent. As the afternoon passes, the wagon train continues deeper into Oregon. The road curves between forests and rivers. The sunlight grows softer. The air remains cool and fresh. The destination is now close enough to feel within reach. There is no need to hurry. The travelers have already learned patience. 1 mile at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 season at a time. As evening approaches, a gentle golden light settles across the landscape. The forests glow softly. The rivers reflect the sky. Long shadows stretch across the valleys. The journey that began so many weeks ago is finally drawing to a close. The wheels continue turning. The road continues westward. And somewhere beyond the trees, Oregon waits quietly beneath the fading light.
The wagon train moves forward, slowly, peacefully, steadily, just as it always has. And beneath the calm skies of the Pacific Northwest, the long journey west finally reaches its gentle conclusion.